cutting-edge guests, awesome, uncensored, jaw-dropping information, plus funny memes, good deeds, and loads of laughter. Kind of have it all. Ladies and gentlemen, if your soul's awake, then welcome, because you're in the right place. They rape, murder, extort, and traffic children, families, husbands, wives, grandmothers, grandfathers, animals, fentanyl, drugs, weapons, everything, even the achrome and chronochrome. And right now, what we are witnessing in this incredible time to be alive in Ascension is the complete destruction systematically being taken out in a multi-pronged overt attack on the cartels and transnational criminal syndicates all the way up to the level of corporate-run countries by the Trump administration and the White Hat Alliance around the world. This will be a quick live stream, bringing everybody up to speed on everything going on in Mexico, Iran, Cuba, and other parts around the world which you likely are unaware of. Stay tuned. We'll see you in the live chat, you divine lions and lionesses. And welcome back to the Sovereign Soul Show. I'm your host, Brad Wozni. You know, in the Sovereign Soul Show, our ethos is love, levity, and liberty, because as a Reiki master over a decade, practicing quarter of a century, I can tell you love is the most powerful force in the universe, omniverse. It's gifted to us from our creator, the great omnipresence of divinity. And you have a soul. If you're awake, unjabbed, unmasked, or you've cleaned yourself up from being jabbed, because at certain points of time, all throughout our entire lives, we've had various versions of it, right? And that is the sound of unlimited love. So you are an eternal being. You are a spiritual entity having an existence in this lifetime. And it's an incredible time to be alive at this point in time with everything that is happening, which is wild. And if you don't know and you're introduced to our show the first time, Bling Buddha is our mascot, hanging out over my shoulder with a big old grin. Right? Because he's blinged out with gold, silver, XRP token around his neck, firing the pills of awakening from his 9 mil with a dove of peace on his shoulder and the lotus flower symbolizing life. Life is very precious, very important. And what is great is seeing what has been kicking off here in a massive way after the Trump administration. As per the paper, Major General Paul Valley wrote, and by the way, thank you for all the well wishes. Checked in with him today and he's feeling a little bit better. But definitely continue to send prayers to that incredible national treasure. And in that paper that he wrote as part of Stand Up America U.S. Foundation, which co-founded with Lieutenant General United States Air Force retired Thomas McInerney, an incredible man who flew 407 combat missions in Vietnam over 4 tours. He volunteered for a 4th tour, even has the Imperial Order of Japan. These men said that you need to designate the cartels foreign terrorist organizations, and we needed to get after them. This is years ago, and now that's what you are all seeing, the culling of the cartels in Mexico. And of course, on the thumbnail you see here, we've got Cuba and Iran, those strikes coming next. It's already been confirmed that they're going to strike Iran surgically, those targets, over the next few days, which is incredible because I want to just frame it up for everybody just like this. All of you incredible divine lions and lionesses across the world who are tuning in, both here on Rumble, I see Paranoble, that's awesome, all across to YouTube, and then everybody else who is listening to this broadcast on a podcast after the fact. Thank you. Thank you all very much for being here in the audience, because you're witnessing a multi-pronged attack, as I stated in the introduction, which is 100% open on all of the terrorist groups and the cartels. And make no mistake whatsoever, in the letter that Norman Traversy, Major General Paul Valley, U.S. Army retired, and myself, we sent on that final quo warranto, which was also signed by a number of incredible patriots, my former roommate Kevin Hoyt, Laura Eisenhower, the great-granddaughter of President of the United States, and 5-star General Dwight D. Eisenhower. When we sent it in to the United States Army JAGs, also the Space Force, the Air Force, the Commandant of the United States Marine Corps and the U.S. Navy, we said that the Canada Crown Corporation is in itself a transnational criminal syndicate. And of course, we had all of the thousands of pages, links to the thousands of pages of evidence to that fact. They know it's a fact, but it's up to all of us per the law of war manual to go through those complete steps to inform them and to let them know from a sovereign soul and a man on the land or a woman on the land standpoint that you are requiring military intervention, you are requesting it. All of the peaceful motives have gone without response, right? Whether it's Freedom Convoy to the Epic event, to the people who are saying, no, I'm not going to take a jab in order to have a job, like the 400,000 in China, Canada did. And, they threw everything out of court. And this is all across the board, all across the world. And so what we have right now for those who are in Mexico, and I'm going to start there first, because this is a way to wipe out all of the deep state. You've taken it out from a financial structure. You take it out from their command and control. So you saw the assassination, or really, the killing reported on Saturday of El Mencho, because the day before, on the 20th, is designated a foreign terrorist organization, right? Like, boom, now we can go and we can get after him. Mexican military went in there. So this is where you see, this is a purported map of all of the cartel land across Mexico, the country right now. So CJNG, look at that in red. I'm going to overlay this as best I can from Fox News, which shows you where the U.S. Embassy, this is yesterday, issued, Sunday night, they issued this after I'd done my Sunday show. But look at this. You have the map that goes back and forth. So obviously what's in the red on the Fox News are the most craziest unsafe areas, right? Safer than Surrey, British Columbia, though. It's far, you have a greater chance of death in Surrey, British Columbia, based on the current crime records and scores, than in Mexico right now. And that's saying something, isn't it? Now, prove me wrong. I'm open to being proved wrong, but with the worst crime statistics, including, rape, murder, you name it. And those are just the ones that are reported. It's the worst in Canada. Red Deer, Alberta, a year ago was reported the second worst in Canada. So it's still safer to be on the streets here where they're gunning down people while the civil war takes place. So once again, you see the maps go back and forth. If I'm wrong on that, go ahead, put the comments in the chat. But this is the way that I see it. So you have everybody with the shelter in place. The flight's been canceled. Dan Dix, a great Canadian truther to a degree, he was out there saying that, look, what they're doing is price gouging everybody in the hotels as shelter in place. And now you look at this and you go from Cancun all the way over to Baja California, and it is prime spring break vacation. So you have all of the college and the university students. You have spring break vacation for everybody in North America. You have the kids, the families who are going there. So while, yes, we can have a little bit of fun at the fact that you have these types of things now, no longer people, because remember, when the jab happens and it comes through, it's been converted and confirmed that the soul leaves the body, archons take it over, and then all of a sudden they're hooked up to the Internet of Things, which is why you can go to grave sites right now 4 and 5 years later, as proven, that you have machine access codes that can be enabled by Bluetooth for people who are buried from the jab 4 and 5 years ago. It's 2026, folks. Like, they locked you down. They locked us all down 2020, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And you can go there, and the dead are still broadcasting from the graves. And what we've seen from coroners have reported that dead blood 2 years on has more nanotechnology that is self-assembled after the individual has died from the jab. And you know what I'm talking about here, because we're also on YouTube and it watches everything and it translates it. So you get the drift. So here we are. This is literally going on here. I saw a video of supposedly a Canadian senior citizen with a Canadian bag looting a Mexican market with a Mexican man filming, going, "Why are you doing this? What are you doing?" And the guy said, "You're American. Stop filming me." And he goes, "Sir, I am from Mexico here, and this is like a war zone, and you are looting, you are stealing from us. Shame on you, shame on you, shame on you." And the man walked away with all of his 2 bags full of loot. So just imagine this, right? Not only cognitive dissonance, but the capture of the mindset, because this is a great thing that Grok pulled together real quick, just like, hey, Grok, and give it a little prompt. Like, So you have all these types of things that are down there in Mexico right now that don't want the help of America, even though American hostages have been reported to be taken by the cartel right now. And they have threatened over the last 2 nights that if you are out on the streets, they will kill you or they will kidnap you. And there's also kidnappings that have been going on. And this is happening, right? You have those ones like, we hate America, even though they're at gunpoint. So those ones, like you said, 46% lost forever. But I have a resource for you, which was posted up on X. We'll go to them right now. I don't know them. I haven't had a chance to do any vetting, so it's entirely up to you. But it is Saber Defense Team. Now, the Saber Defense Team posted this 2 nights ago, so I don't know the status of their 1-800 number, but this is what they posted. That the Saber Defense Team in Mexico is facilitating emergency evacuation operations from Mexico for U.S. citizens affected by airport disruptions and regional instability. If your loved ones needs help exiting safely and legally, call 800-800-1771. So that's their toll-free number, 800-800-1771. They also have the email defense@saberteam.com, secure transport, aviation coordination, real-time logistics, time matters. I also have their website up here, which I brought up for you. So you can see, again, they do a lot of PSD work, private security, whatnot, and backing up with law enforcement. So you can go there, you can check them out. There's DNI Tulsi Gabbard on the website, RFK Jr. So perhaps the private contractors like we've seen back in the day from Blackwater, etc., are doing this PSD work for people so they have a chance. There was Mickey Wills, you just saw, right? There's Mickey again, right, on the cover. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea that they might be the good guy, real deal, from an assistance standpoint. So if you have anybody who's in Mexico, they're American, then that's a great opportunity for you to go, because you have all the flights that have been canceled from every major airline that I have seen across Canada, WestJet, Air Canada, right, to America, Delta, American, from what I've heard, United as well, Star Alliance partners, all canceled everything. So once again, you have everybody who is here on the CJNG territory and some outside of that territory from the other cartel territories. And there is an open civil war in massive parts of Mexico right now. So send out prayers to everybody who's there. Send out, especially to the kids, right? Because the kids don't have a choice. If mom and dad drag them along to a war zone, already knowing in the last 4 months that the Trump administration and also into the spring of last year designated certain cartels foreign terrorist organizations, and they still went there for vacation. So the children didn't have a choice. They just want to get on the water slide at maybe Riviera Maya, right? And go have a fun time because it's all inclusive. And here they are right now. So it's a very scary time for those people. And by the way, let's also remember the actual benevolent families and the men and women born on the land in Mexico who have been subjected to these cartels for generations and generations and generations, who have had enough. And this is a symbolic of freedom coming for them. And if you don't remember, or you never heard, or you weren't aware, or you need to be reminded, that it was reported Claudia Sheinbaum had 43 people who were running against her in her presidential election in 2024, and they all mysteriously died from gunshots, suicides, other stuff like run over by a car suddenly, mysteriously, right? Not right. So here we are right now. You have all of this going on, and here she is. It's translated back to English, saying that using force against cartels would be a breach of human rights. Literal quote from her speech: returning to the war against the narco is not an option. First, because it is outside the framework of the law. Remember, symbology will be their downfall, right? So here it is. So the same organizations who have no problem raping women, impregnating them, selling them, taking their babies from them, raping those babies, murdering the babies, stuffing fentanyl and other narcotics into the carcasses of those babies, and then are literally sewing them back up, giving them to paid women or other women underneath them that are working for them, or slaves or being trafficked, and said to keep your mouth shut or we will kill you after we gang rape you and beat you to a pulp, get it over the border into the United States. This is the stuff that has been going on for years. This is part of the stuff that is being shut down en masse, and to wipe out all of those demons everywhere. So you can call them Hamas, Hezbollah, this cartel, Sinaloa, that cartel, CJNG, whatever it is, right? All those names all belong to the branch of the same demonic entity. And that is what we're going through right now and watching, from the strikes happening in Iran, which also is technology beyond what the majority of the world is aware of exists, right? And they're using the term nuclear weapons and nuclear storage facilities they've had there, including the freedom for everybody we've seen in the uprising and the revolution, where they're burning the statues in Iran. Christians are burning, heavily persecuted there too. Christians are burning the statues of demonic entities. And what is happening on May 17th? President Trump designated that May 17, 2026 will be the day that we rededicate the nation of America to one nation under God. Remember, there's a difference, right? You're all sovereign souls here. There's a difference between country and nation, right? A country is not something you call something you love. That is a corporatocracy, which is taken over, which is set up in a for-profit business entity where you, if you have a social security number or a social insurance number, are the corporate chattel, traded on the stock market, stock exchange, bonded against you, the media with birth, and you're recorded back in the Vatican Library, and they have you and your soul imprint for generations and generations of who you are, who you came here to be, and who they also need to stop making a triage priority list. It's just incredible, right? So here we have right now that in Mexico, there are Americans that have been reported being kidnapped, hostage taking, and then you just saw that one from the Prime Minister, Claudia Sheinbaum, that no, we can't have war with the cartels because it violates human rights. All right. Well, let's take a look at what we have also just seen right here. We have just announced hours ago that Sheinbaum is threatening a lawsuit against Elon Musk after he accused her of being a puppet of drug cartels. So your entire country is enwrapped in civil war. You have U.S. military and good law enforcement battling cartel in the streets. The cartel are ripping up roads and highways with dozers. They are making blockades with buses, anything, school buses, cars, vans, lighting them on fire, terrorizing people all across the country openly now, and even the tourist areas. And you just want to do a defamation lawsuit against Elon Musk. So this is also, when you look at it from the high level 30,000 foot view, ladies and gentlemen, this is about bringing in the Western Hemisphere, the Monroe Doctrine, the corollary to that, the Donroe Doctrine, right? Here it is. Just the other day, Mexico's CJNJ cartel says they will target anyone found on the streets and tells all residents of Guadalajara to stay home. And that was extended now. It's all across the country. All across the country, right? And yep, down the Yucatan Peninsula, maybe there's a few safe areas, right? Because it's a large region, very large region. But overall, you can't get in or out. It's literally on lockdown for those security reasons. So it's this is the game time. This is the warm up to the big show in terms of taking out the rest of the demons in a very kinetic way, in a public way, which you are seeing here with the year of the fire horse that is just completed, with the astrological energy that we are in right now, which I reported on Send It Sunday show, which you've heard. And then from now through to April. And I want you also to take a look at the incredible events that have happened in Mexico with this, that 200 to 250 million ounces of annual silver production. in Mexico is now shut down until this is over. And there's no way that this is going to be over in a day. You know, this is going to take weeks, the way that I see it, to mop up, and others see it too. Weeks, because you've cut off the heads of the snakes. And remember, just in January, 90 cartel members were arrested and flown to the United States and presented to the Department of Justice for their trials as terrorists. So 90 cartel leaders and the operators underneath them, the sub-lieutenants and captains, were arrested and flown to the USA for trial. So now you have the ground guys coming up, and then you have them kind of cannibalizing, right? Because there's turf wars going on, and now you have them overtly going against the the Mexican authorities and military in the streets. And then on February 20th, they designate this cartel a foreign terrorist organization. They take out El Mencho. There's lockdowns countrywide, shootouts in the streets. And now you just saw, if you haven't, I'll play it for you here. Trump is waiting for Scheinbaum to call on him for help, because he's just sitting here going, we cannot send in our troops like this because you would be a declaration of war by your very stance, but you're sitting on your hands wanting to sue Elon Musk while civilians from other countries who are there on vacation are being murdered in your own streets by cartel members. Here's President Trump on Air Force One. Excuse me, let me take it off mute.
Mexico is saying that I offered to send U.S. troops into Mexico to take care of the cartel. She wants to know, is that true? Do you think I'm going to answer that question?
That's why I'm asking. We'll see.
I will answer it. It's true. Absolutely. Because they should be. They are horrible people that have been killing people left and right. They've made a fortune on selling drugs and destroying our people. We lost 300,000 people last year to fentanyl and drugs. They're bad news. Yeah, that's true. If Mexico wanted help with the cartels, we would be honored to go in.
And not a phone call yet, right? What you've seen also from the Department of War Secretary Pete Hegseth on this matter the last 2 days, everything's quiet. Calm before the storm, everybody. And they've already announced that there will be strikes on Iran in these next several days. So there's that. And then there's also Cuba. Cuba was reported that banks have completely blocked everybody across Cuba from withdrawing cash. So they put them on the CBDC, and now they've frozen everybody's bank accounts. So there's going to need to be a lot that happens there. And right beside Gitmo, if you can see it on Google Earth, you'll also see home of the deep state is there on Google Maps right across the road from Guantanamo Bay facility. Whew. I would imagine that's because military tribunals are going on there and the deep state wants to have a foothold, but it literally says that on Google Maps. So now you have this from a standpoint where also on the financial and the markets are going to react to this, and they have been reacting to it, because earlier this morning on Tuesday, February 24th, what else happened? Well, Lunar New Year is over, of the year of the fire horse, that 1 week celebration in China. And they came back and silver crossed $100 an ounce already. So remember, January 1st, China stops exports to the world unless you have a special license to export. Can do like 80 million tons of concentrate every single year and prove that. And then the other side of this is you're sitting here going, all right, now you just have Mexico completely shut down during this civil war that has taken to the streets all across the country, north, south, east, and west. And you've got a stranglehold on those silver exports. So the two largest producers of silver exporting into the world have just went gone. And it's February 24th, and that started on February 22nd. So you can literally look at 6.5 weeks into the new year. The majority of the world's silver supply produced and exported is gone, is vaporized. So that's going to be massive for silver. Plus, remember what's coming up on Friday. It's the first day of the margin calls for March in order to take deliveries in March. And COMEX was sitting there, as I reported a week ago, 103 million ounces in their vaults with an estimated 500 million ounces that want physical delivery. This is just wild. So we're bringing it down. It's going to be incredible, but also there are people that are getting hurt, and good people as well. So you want to put out, because it's a war. We're in all levels of it. The 5th generation warfare, which is going on, 5G warfare. I'm thinking 5th generation fighter, because now you have 2 carrier strike groups that are just right there out of the Strait of Hormuz and Gibraltar, ready to go in Iran. And where are they, right? Like they're sitting here like the Albertans in 51st state, right? Who's an Albertan? This guy. And sitting here going, all right, we're done with Venezuela. We are done with the forced vaccinations and the transgendering of your children and the mutilation. You're done with the euthanasia that's happening. And you're done with 4,000 registered, known, organized crime criminal syndicates, including the government itself, as we acknowledged in our letter to the Judge Advocate Generals and President Trump in 2024. And again, it's been done in 2025. And the U.S. Army, CID, through Senseis Phil, Daniel Warnock, Yayoi, all the other great patriots have sent over there just in December of 2025, 3 months ago. All done with it. And what do you need? You need somebody who's coming in with the big stick to clean up that house. And you also need to be a part of it. You need to be ready to fill that void wherever you are around the world, and keeping yourself in a high vibrational state of enlightenment and peace and lawful neutrality, and finding that, right? Hang on, we're just going to nuke a soul troll here in the comments. There we go. Somebody wanted to bring back polio. What a ridiculous comment, right? But you have those soul trolls who come in and they're all upset because they've got nothing better to do. So this, by the way, is something that you're going to love, because it had 77,000 shares in 48 hours after I put it out here. So we're looking at it from Bitcoin, right? What's Bitcoin? Bitcoin, the shit coin created by Epstein Foundation, known for years. And, for 2 years, once I really looked into it, I'm like, wait a second, why the World Economic Forum owns Coinbase? And Coinbase, oh, and by the way, Coinbase just now announced that they're donating to the Trump account.gov $250 for every American child. To a degree, they're one of those capitulation, right? Executive orders 13818, 13848, and it just continues to go on 13979, yada, yada, on that stuff. People, businesses responsible for human trafficking, drug trafficking, crimes against children, crimes against humanity, etc. Microsoft Corporation just came into it. All of these big donors, just watch, that have just happened and continue to happen, and after the State of the Union, that are suddenly going to go, I'm going to take care of my entire state of Connecticut or my entire state of Indiana. Billionaires making their donations. And if you watch the shows Derek and I have done and other ones, you know why that's happening, right? You know what has happened, and for good reason as to why. But you still have people who don't believe in the criminality that's been happening with children. And so if you can't get the world to that yet, then you kind of have to walk it out another way and present that so-called business maverick of Wall Street or something, as a good guy who just happens to be taking care of maybe the state of Connecticut for all the children under the Trump accounts, right? Here's that video. It's got 77,000 shares in 48 hours. And I put it out there, and we didn't create it, but you'll see who did.
Beep, beep, beep. Vibe is running. Beep, 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 beep. Vibe is running. Beep, 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 beep. Vibe is running. Beep, beep, beep. Baseline sitting and the vibe is running. Stepping in the rave, yeah, the rhythm is right.
That's just so awesome. Fantastic. I love that. Grand Rising friends from Murray and YouTube. So great to see it here. Breach of human rights and everything that is definitely going on. Yep, absolutely. We've got it. And then over in Rumble, Paranoble says there will be arrests at the State of Union address tonight. Q has El Mencho laptop with 17 congressional members on it. Right on. Thanks for sharing. Tammy Langstaff, love your podcast. Brett Wiley, Whiskey Tango Foxtrots in the house again. It's wonderful to see that across platforms you have hundreds of you watching from across the world. It only gave you not even a 30-minute notice. It's going to do this, involved in some other stuff. So here we are, right? Yeah. Gold is where you're going back to. And that is not too far away from that hitting very, very shortly. And stand by for Sunday's show. I've got an incredible amount of in-depth research as to where it's going to go. And also, Dr. Peter C. Earl is coming back on the show. So if you enjoyed that, here's a West Point graduate. That's U.S. Military Academy, in case people don't know. U.S. Army Ranger, a man who is one of the volunteer, I say heroes, down at the World Trade Center searching for people under the rubble, even though he was working on Wall Street as a broker and a trader, and then built his way up, and then got an MBA, and then got a PhD in economics, and did his thesis on gold. That who is coming back on next week as well. Can't find anybody better in the world to come on and talk to you about gold and what is happening and the parameters that he can. Thank you, everybody. By the way, we shared this video yesterday, the interpretation of Mother Gaia, sharing out the great energy that happened during yesterday's equinox. Here it is. Nice little touch, right? I like that. It's quite beautiful. So that also is important to remember that you've got beauty in this world. And as I mentioned on Senate Sunday, remind yourself that you are the fortunate one. You have won a lottery ticket. You're one of 250 million sperm. You're the only one out of 249,999,000 that made it, that got the lottery. And you're still here and you're rocking it. And we appreciate all of you. And whether it's on the wellness side with our Life Wave and a Root, going to have an incredible show coming up on Root Wellness and what's going on there too. It's going to blow your mind. Or from gold, all of our American friends got 107 over here. That's cool. I just seen this flash. That's awesome. We'll see you soon and we'll get after it. And if anybody, by the way, needs to have a conversation on gold, silver, precious metals, there's still a free consultation offered at Goldco. That's our partner at BuddhaLovesGold.com. And it's only for sovereign souls. So we're quite happy about that. And we're grateful that they offer it. So the people who take it up and even just have a call, talk about that, you can get your financial advisor on the line with them because they're the #1 precious metals advisor in America, voted by Money Magazine, as it was reported, with now 8,000 5-star reviews up to January 2026. So that's all free. That's toll free. The number is at BuddhaLovesGold.com. You can call them. You can schedule. You can have your financial advisor on the phone talking about that to diversify into gold, silver, precious metals, chat about it because it's all going to the moon. It's all going to the moon. And they're setting the price floors for it. And that'll be coming. And those price floors are going to be a lot higher than where we are right now, because America's industrial capacity requires it. And they've already said that from the White House, from Vice President Vance as well. So I'll play this for you once again, and I'll sign off for the evening. We'll see you a little bit later on this week, dear souls. Even tomorrow, we've got a live stream. So stay tuned for that. All right. God bless you. All right, you sovereign souls, now is the time to protect your money with gold and silver if you already have not. And if you are and you have a chance to do so, I highly encourage to do so even more, because gold and silver will launch the golden age, which Commander-in-Chief Trump has continuously referenced.
The dollar is going down, and it's not a pretty picture, and it's not being sustained by proper policy and proper thinking. This was an opportunity, and maybe an opportunity to show people what's happening with the dollar so that we can do something about it.
Get some if you can. BuddhaLovesGold.com will take you to our partner Goldco. They have over 6,000 5-star reviews. This is why now is the time to buy gold and silver, because we have thousands of Americans buying gold today. The rising inflation has reduced our purchasing power. Dysfunctional politics don't work for us. The US dollar has lost over 97% of its value since 1913, while the price of gold has increased over 9,000%. Silver has fared well against the dollar too, with the silver price increasing over 4,500%. since 1913. It's about wealth protection. Physical precious metals act as a hedge against dips in volatile markets. Go over to BuddhaLovesGold.com. That's www.BUDDHA, BuddhaLovesGold.com. You will download your free silver and gold guide today, and our great people over there at Goldco will take care of you. That's BuddhaLovesGold.com. You'll see a picture of me right on there, Brad Wozni. And once again, BRICS is the new financial system. Asset-backed precious metals is the way of the future. This is about financial control. Diversifying your assets with gold and silver puts you in control of your wealth at BuddhaLovesGold.com. Thanks for joining us on the program, ladies and gentlemen. Please like, follow, subscribe, share this with 9 friends and family. And of course, if you enjoy our blinged Buddha firing red pills from his 9mm, let us know.